State-of-the-art new way of building affordable housing right now is in the works, and it is a concept that could expand across the world.
What if the future of housing didn't arrive in the form of a skyscraper, but in a box? For years, homeownership has felt increasingly out of reach. Prices have been climbing. Inventory is shrinking. Mortgages are stretching longer and longer. Getting a house is simply out of reach for a normal person. But recently, Elon Musk has been making headlines with something that may very well solve this entire problem. A compact, factory-built, foldable home that some reports claim could cost as little as $10,000. It sounds unbelievable, almost like internet hype. In a world where the average American home costs more than $400,000, the idea of buying a livable house for the price of a used car feels almost impossible. But what is this $10,000 house? And could it end America's housing crisis? Let's dive in. The housing crisis. Owning a home used to be simple math. You worked hard, you saved some money, and you bought the house. That was the rhythm of the American middle class for decades. But now, something has changed. In 2000, the median home price in the United States was around $170,000. Today, it sits above $420,000. In cities like Los Angeles, the median price is pushing toward $900,000. In parts of New York City, crossing the $1 million mark is not unusual. Even in states once considered affordable, Texas, Florida, Arizona, prices have surged by double digits over the past few years. Now compare that with income. The median household income in America is roughly $75,000 per year. On paper, that sounds reasonable, but when a home costs 5, 6, sometimes 10 times that income, the equation breaks down. In the 1980s, a home typically cost about 3 times the average yearly salary. Today, in many major markets, owning a house is 6 times, sometimes 7 times, the annual salary. So what's actually driving prices this high? It's not just one thing, it's a chain reaction. After 2020, global supply chains fractured, factories slowed, shipping routes were jammed, and the cost of moving materials across oceans skyrocketed. At one point, lumber prices weren't just up 10 or 20%, they had jumped more than 300% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Even after cooling, prices never fully returned to their former levels. And then there's labor. For years, fewer young workers have been entering skilled trades. Construction companies now face shortages of electricians, plumbers, framers, and project managers. With fewer workers available, construction wages have risen. Higher labor costs mean higher build costs. It's simple math. And globally, inflation has pushed up the price of nearly everything: fuel, transportation, equipment, and insurance. Housing doesn't exist in isolation. It sits at the center of a global economic system. All of these forces stack together. Higher material costs, higher labor costs, restricted supply. Owning a home has become out of reach for a middle-class person. So what happens when the traditional path no longer works? It forces innovation, and that's exactly where new ideas begin to enter the conversation. The foldable house. One of those new ideas didn't come from a traditional home builder. It came from someone better known for rockets and electric cars: Elon Musk. In recent years, Musk sold multiple properties in California worth more than $100 million combined. That included massive estates, luxury homes, expansive square footage, and then he moved into something much smaller. Near SpaceX's facilities in Boca Chica, Texas, Musk has reportedly lived in a compact, factory-built home by Boxable, a company known for manufacturing modular homes that arrive folded and expand on site. At first glance, the idea sounds simple: a house built in a factory, folded for transport, delivered on a truck, unfolded in a matter of hours. But the simplicity is what makes it powerful. The standard unit is roughly 375 to 400 square feet, about the size of a studio apartment. But inside that space is a full bathroom, a kitchen, a living area, and a bedroom layout designed for efficiency. Electrical systems, plumbing, insulation, and structural panels are integrated before the home ever leaves the factory floor. According to the company's claims, the unit can be unfolded and structurally set up in a few hours once delivered to prepared land. Because it is transported as a compact module, logistics are simplified compared to moving large prefabricated sections. A single truck can deliver, believe it or not, what becomes a fully enclosed living space. And this is where the idea begins to shift. If a home can be built faster, in a controlled factory environment, with fewer delays and less on-site labor, the cost structure changes, not just for one unit, but potentially at scale. Instead of months of framing, roofing, and inspections stretched across unpredictable schedules, the bulk of the work happens before the home ever reaches the property. But if something this compact, this efficient, this fast to assemble can be built in a factory and delivered almost ready to live in, what would be its cost? Can a normal middle person really afford this type of thing? The $10,000 price. The number is what grabs attention first. $10,000. In a housing market where the national median price sits above $400,000, that figure sounds almost unreal. It feels closer to the cost of a used car than to the cost of a place to live. And that is precisely why it sparks both excitement and skepticism. So how could a company even approach that number? The answer lies in manufacturing. Traditional homes are built on-site, piece by piece. Crews move from one project to another. Weather causes delays. Materials are ordered in smaller quantities. Every build has slight variations. All of that adds cost. A factory model changes the equation. When homes are produced indoors on an assembly line, materials can be purchased in bulk. Processes become standardized. Labor is organized efficiently rather than scattered across multiple job sites. In manufacturing, repetition lowers cost. It's the same logic used in the automotive industry. Once production scales, the price per unit drops. If a company can produce thousands of identical units per year, the overhead spreads out. The structure becomes less of a custom project and more of a product. For the average consumer, the impact could be significant. Suddenly, buying a home doesn't feel impossible. A person might not need a huge mortgage. The loan could be smaller. In some cases, someone might even be able to buy it outright or pay it off much faster than a traditional house that keeps people in debt for 30 years. Even if the final cost goes up once you add land, utilities, and permits, the starting point is still different. When the structure itself costs less, you have more options. The real power of the $10,000 idea isn't just the price tag, it's what it stands for. A new way of building homes, faster, more efficient, and possibly affordable for people who've been pushed out of the housing market for years. So what are the implications of this worldwide? Real-world implications. Across the world, housing pressure isn't slowing down. The United Nations estimates that more than 1.6 billion people live in inadequate housing. Over 100 million have no stable shelter at all. In parts of Africa and South Asia, cities are growing faster than homes can be built. Families construct houses in stages, one wall at a time, one roof at a time, depending on what they can afford that year. Now imagine a durable unit that arrives finished, wired, insulated, weather-resistant, delivered in a single day. That changes timelines. It changes stability, and it changes planning. Even in developed countries, the shortage is measured in millions of homes. In the United States alone, estimates suggest a housing deficit of several million units. Supply has not kept up with population growth or demand. And when supply falls behind, prices rise. But if homes can be manufactured faster, if thousands can be produced each year in controlled factories, supply pressure begins to ease. Boxable isn't just building a handful of units. The company has been expanding production capacity and planning new factories designed to output thousands of homes annually. They are working toward full automation of assembly lines, meaning fewer delays, fewer weather-related issues, and more predictable costs. Instead of building one home at a time on a job site, they aim to develop hundreds or thousands of homes in parallel, just as car manufacturers do. That kind of scale is what can finally push structural costs down, not from hope, but from complex economics. This is where the Elon Musk and Boxable partnership matters. Boxable brings the manufacturing system. Elon Musk brings something different: visibility, capital attention, the ability to accelerate interest. When his name enters an industry, the spotlight follows. That spotlight attracts investors. So, does this single model end the housing crisis overnight? The answer is no, because land laws still exist, financing systems still matter, infrastructure still costs money. But when the cost of the structure drops, the foundation of the problem shifts. And when foundations shift, entire systems begin to move. Sometimes change doesn't arrive in the form of something bigger. Sometimes it arrives smaller and smarter. For decades, housing has been treated as a slow, heavy, and expensive project. But this foldable house suggests a different future, one where shelter can move, adapt, and appear whenever it's needed most. It may not replace cities or concrete skylines, but it could certainly change the conversation, from how long it takes to build a home to how fast one can arrive. So, what do you think? What will the future of housing look like? Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you liked this video, ensure you give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because we will be uploading more crazy stories like this one in the coming weeks. Until then, see ya!